We are back for another monthly training, and I think this will hit home for almost every single woman out there is when we're struggling with body image, because it is very real. And sometimes I truly believe the more we push, sometimes the more this pops up. In our journeys. It's like the more we do and develop our bodies, the more we almost start to pick it apart more and more and more. So we're going to kind of talk about the struggle, the work, and how we can just some different tools and things we can do to shift your energy and continue this because this isn't something like that will be a quick fix, but it is something that I think is so incredibly important for your long-term, um, I mean, just life, right? Just being, this is the one body you get, and being able to be in a sense of peace and growth is something I think is so powerful personally. So let's go. Um, so I am going to just chat about me for a minute because I think, when we're talking about body image struggles, I think, there has been a good chunk of my life. And if you've heard my other trainings, I personally struggled with just myself. I did a lot of self-loathing. I didn't like myself. And insert also a good chunk of my life, I've hated what I've seen in the mirror. And I think it's really interesting because I think for the longest time I really believed that if I got leaner, that would be when I would just be amazing, right? And I think there was a gap there, and there is a gap. There was a gap there. But I'm going to chat about when I did my last bikini contest because I was stage lean, single digit body fat, and in my peak condition, shredded. And during that time, it was interesting because I thought I'd be like, wow, look at me. I look so amazing. But it was funny. The leaner I got, the more I felt like I was picking apart, like this needs to change and this needs to be better. Which, like I said, my abs aren't sharp enough. My glutes aren't tight and they're not high enough. And it's like my arms aren't pulling in and my legs aren't, what is going on? It just felt like this endless piece. Now, obviously, a little bit of a different situation versus like normal life and a contest prep because in a contest prep, you are getting judged on your body, right? Like your physique against other women. Now, that doesn't mean that every woman who stood up on that stage didn't bust their butt to get there, because they did. And I think one of the most interesting parts was that sometimes I think there is this belief that if I'm super lean, then it's going to yield something. And I'll be good enough is the one that comes to mind. I'll be good enough, or then I'll be happy, or then I will have it figured out. And I think the missing link was it wasn't about the person I was becoming in some of those situations. Now, stage clean, very different. Um, But when we're in these moments, what it can look like when we're struggling with our body is like you're constantly like picking yourself apart and like in real life in the mirror, like you're constantly checking, or sometimes you're just like, I can't even look in the mirror because like, ugh, right? Or you're picking yourself apart. You're standing there looking in the mirror, being like, ugh, my arms, my belly, my like this, right? And I mean, that can be a whole talk in and of itself. But even comparing yourself to, um, your friends, your sister, your mom, these people you see on social media, or like people you knew in the past in that you see on social media, or people you've never met in your world on social media. Um, and also, I think there is this belief that like people perceive you the same way you perceive yourself, and they're judging you super harshly. So we believe it's like my body, right? If I can just get this fat off X, Y, and Z, or if I could just be super lean and shredded, or if I just had abs, what? Right? And I want to just preface that, say this up front, that physique shaping, we will talk how everything we're talking about is physique shaping is such a beautiful way to support our body image and all of our goals and things like that. Because I don't want you to think, well, then why am why am I physique shaping? Why do I care? And it's like, well, girl, we know that matters. But anyway, your body is not the issue. It's, oh, surprise. It's your mind. And what stories it keeps repeating, right? What we are telling ourselves when we look in the mirror, when we are talking to ourselves, when we are moving about our day, when we are looking in the mirror. So why is this so common? Especially, like I said, sometimes when I look back, one of the most confident times I felt in my body was nowhere near my leanest, but it was like where I finally felt like I was like, I get this. And it was because the person I was becoming I had changed. And it wasn't about getting small, because like that was cool, and it is. It's cool to get lean, it's cool to see your muscles, it's cool to build them, but it was like not necessarily the result as much as the process, right? But here's the piece that I think we sometimes miss is there's, especially, I'm gonna go social media for a second, so I might get on a tangent. Sorry, not sorry. But there's before and after photos, there's scale numbers, there's measurements, and these types of things we see, right? We don't always get the full picture. And I was actually talking with some clients, like different clients. For example, this girl who does Pilates, she has like these massive legs and she's got this defined body and she's doing Pilates. How is that possible? And it's like, well, she may be doing Pilates now, but she's not telling you what she did in her past. She absolutely was strength training at one time. She was absolutely lifting. And there's parts of these things that like the people on social media don't always share. Or like you might see a before and after picture, but you're not actually in like with that person and being like, hey, talk to me about how did it go? What was up? You don't know how much they struggled. You don't know how maybe easy it was for them. You don't know. We make a lot of assumptions, and that can make it really challenging because, sometimes you'll see a before and after photo with no timeline. Or you see this woman who just massive muscle and they'll be like, it takes years. And you're like, cool, like 2 years. And they mean like 8 to 10. Um, and so those pieces can be really powerful. And like I said, social media in general, you just don't see the whole story, which can lead to us going down our own rabbit holes with thoughts. So I say that because the fitness industry, and I don't just mean like the fitness industry, like the dieting industry. If we go back to all the diets, like Atkins, keto, low carb, carnivore, like, I mean, oh my gosh, Weight Watchers, like we just go back and back and back to all of these different styles, like diets. They all did this as well, where we've learned through our experiences too, from what our family, from our friends, from like outside world has given us some kind of like the society, right, has given us this feedback that's like, oh, this is the perfect body, right? Or this is how you should look. When I think we all know deep down, we all have different genetics. We have different things at play. We have so many other like different life struggles, different obstacles, different things we have to come in our own journeys, that it's not just like this black and white, like, yeah, I'm gonna do her food, her nutrition plan, and look like her. No, you could probably follow my workout plan, my nutrition plan, all of my stuff, and you wouldn't look like me. It doesn't make sense because we are also individual. And it's why we preach macros, right? Like everybody's macros are so individual to you and your body. And I think there's that place though where family comments, like I know my grandma used to like pick me apart when I was a little girl, and I already struggled so much with my own self and my identity. I was chunky. My brother and sister were like little toothpicks, and I was like, ah, and my grandma just, and sometimes those thoughts are still kind of ingrained in my brain. Um, your experiences as a kid, your experiences as a teenager, or even a young adult, or even now, like our experiences and things like that shape us. Um, I feel like I said, I didn't exactly say this, but like sometimes your worth starts to get tied up in it. And I am going to do my next training is going to be on worthiness. Because I know there was a piece in the client channel about this a little while back, with like this feeling of achievements, of having tying your self-worth to this outer piece versus our worthiness is non-negotiable. You are worthy just because you exist. And that is like, I would almost put this in, but this would have been real beefy. So that is going to be a whole different training because I think that as a mindset training will be really powerful. I think there's also this illusion of control, right? Of when things feel out of control or life feels overwhelming, I can tighten the reins or I can do this, or chasing the perfect body will feel like that will fix everything that doesn't feel like it's going well in my life. Um, and no doubt, I think we all do this. We do just feel amazing when we look amazing. Like it's not even just about looking amazing, but it's like when I am doing these actions, right? And it's my actions and my thoughts and how I show up and what I do on the daily that really does build the outcome. The result is inevitable. Like we all know this, but it's also part of who you become along the way that really defines just all this piece with like how we feel, our confidence, our self-trust, like all like our self-respect, our self like trust, our honesty and radical accountability of like our actions and what we do and don't do. Like that is the real power because when we're there, I'm probably jumping ahead. Bear with me. Um, but when we're there, it really does shape us. So, the other thing is bikini competitors. I think more and more, and with social media getting bigger and bigger and more people competing, you're seeing people stage lean. And I think we forget what that means and what that looks like. And from my experience, I will share this. And I actually shared this with someone the other day who messaged me on social media because right now, my coach has me doing 45 minutes on the Stairmaster every single day. Every day, training, not training, doesn't matter. Every day. And someone was like, that seems like excessive. And it was like, it could to some people, but this is something my coach and I have worked for me for this time and where we are. And I would never program that for one of my clients. And there's a difference, right, between maybe like a bikini competitor and a lifestyle client and what they're going to do. And so when I was in contest prep, there was a point I was doing 2 hours of cardio every day, my workouts, eating my food, same foods every single day. Um, and it was kind of rinse and repeat, like Groundhog's Day. Every day kind of looked the same. And I don't think people realize, like, they are like, I want to look like that bikini competitor. And I'm like, but do you really? Like, do you want to give that lifestyle? Is that how you want to live your life? Because even bikini competitors, like, I'm not shredded and super straight stage lean right now as I should be. I should not be stage lean at all. So no. And I say that not to be like, rude, but being that low and being where that was an extreme and it's a sport. And that sometimes gets misconstrued over social media because not only do you see them in these places, but then their entire feed, what they post and the pictures they post, that's all you usually see. You don't see the difficult parts, the builds, the off season, the struggles. Like you're just seeing these beautiful pictures. And so sometimes I think people are starting to think that is the norm when that is the extreme. And extremes are always easy, right? It's finding how to live this balanced lifestyle. That's why fad diets are so nice. It's like, oh, I can do this. I can go hard. I'll see the results. And then we swing the other way, right? We've all done it. I've done it 2,000 times. But when it's like you finally, and that's why I love macro so much, when you found that balance, you're like, "Psh, I'm golden." And balance is going to change with your life and over time, but it's also a piece that we get to um, work of like where you are in your life, what you need, all of that. And balance is a whole other thing. But anyway, this is why so many of us struggle with, oh, and I didn't even say like life stuff, like aging, perimenopause, menopause, pregnancy, perimenopause, just our hormone shift and you feel not yourself. I know I'm currently going through that. And there are days where it's like, who is this person? Um, and learning to be with her and these heightened emotions and all of this stuff. So you can see why in the fitness industry, struggling with body image is so real. There is a lot of comparison. I think a lot of expectations and a lot of things on the table that just make you feel like I should be here. But I'll ask you this, and this might be a really good question to sit down, journal about, and think. When did your worth get pulled into how you look? When did that happen? And why does the finish line continue to move? And I don't mean those as like gotcha questions, because my finish line continues to move. But why and how is it serving you? Is it you're pushing that finish line for some kind of external validation or worth? Or is the finish line moving because you have this relentless pursuit of betterment? And so I would get curious on that and really step back and say, hey, why? And not like why you do that, that's bad. It's like get curious, lean in, because my bet is there could be maybe both. It's like, yes, I do want to grow, but yes, I also have this like worth tied up in how I look. Um, so I'm going to show you because we talk about this all the time, right? But she's a bikini competitor and she's one of the, she's not just any bikini. She's a fitness model bikini competitor and she is a world champion, like best of the best. I mean, today as we no, tomorrow as we speak, tomorrow as we speak when you listen to this. Um she will be competing on stage at like world championships of bikini competitions. I know maybe not everybody's into that, but I just mean this in a way that she is someone you will see online, and this is her in both of these pictures from 2025 are both from, she's currently, like I said, in a bikini prep. So this one over here was more like at the beginning, and obviously we are toward the end, close to the end over here. Now, the reason I brought this picture in to showcase is because this was her in 2011. And I believe this was her first show, this picture. And I got these from her social media. So this is her first show. This is 14 years later. And, when we think about people building muscle, she had talked about that she put on in 12 years, she did DEXA scans for 12 years. She's put on 16 pounds of muscle in that 12 years. Okay. I just wanted to put that as like, when people are like, I want to be further along. I should be further along building muscle. Like, come just fall on me, right? Like, I would love to Amazon Prime me some muscle. Like, that was an option. I would do it. But looking at her, right, 2011 to now, 2015 to now, right? 10 years of just grinding and working and this is what she does, right? This is what she does. She does work as a personal trainer. Like she does this, right? She poses people. She does all the things. But this is what she does. And if you're looking at this, it's like we think like, oh, I want to look like her. Same. Maybe you don't. I do. I want to be in the fitness model category. And I know I have to grow. But like when I see this and when you see this, sometimes we're like, oh, I can build muscle really fast and like, oh, it'll be easy. And it's like, no, you got to put in the work and the reps. And she has a lot of genetic components that everybody's individual, right? I said this earlier, that makes it a lot easier for her to put on muscle. And so I don't mean that in like, oh, oh, good for her. It's like, hey, we all are different and we all have these challenges that we do have to just acknowledge that we're different and like our genetic profiles and where we store fat and where we lose fat and where we build muscle easier and where we don't. Each of us has this. And some of us, it's like, it can even change. Mine's kind of changed over time a little bit, but I've also been prioritizing certain muscle groups intensely. But I show this, and I'll show you the front as well. You can see just how much she's changed in those years. And you can see even like her legs and all like the muscle definition is more tighter, leaner, but it took years. And I wanted to put this in here for two things. One, she's a bikini competitor, and but it's real that this is what we see online. And I know she's kind of more of an extreme than like there's like different categories, but I thought it was really powerful to see the differences in her pictures and to be able to say, like, wow, like, look at her legs, even in 2011. She had some pretty muscular legs, but you can see the transition and how the muscle has grown, how more defined it is, and over time and over time. And that was like 4 years between those two pictures. And then obviously, this is the same, but this is her at a leaner body fat percentage. So, we're seeing these kinds of pictures though, right? This is what we're seeing and thinking like, I should look like this. And it's like, well, should I? Why should I? And I think this is why like high achieving women like us get stuck in this loop, right? We go crush it. We're like, I want to improve. I love that. I love to improve. Family, life, goals, fitness, nutrition, all the things. But somehow there's this space where sometimes we still don't feel like we're at home in our body, and that can feel really exhausting. There's a lot of comparison going on. There's a lot of like expectations that might not be aligned with where we are or our lifestyle we want. Um, we're going to talk about this one, the feeling of should. I should be further along. I should be seeing more results. I should. Never good enough, right? I'm never good enough. This is never good enough. This physique isn't good enough. And like looking through with this, reminding yourself like, am I trying to put myself against something that I know the whole story? Like, do you know Hattie Boydell and know her whole story? Probably not. Do you know the struggles? I don't think I even know all the struggles and I'm obsessed with her. But we all have these things that we just see, these visuals, and we're like, ugh, they get it. They got it together. There's something wrong with me. There's something broken. There's something wrong. No. So the trap of should. Let's go. I hear this all the time. Like I said, she built somebody who trains the house down, progressive overload. Just dialed in nutrition, fitness, like lives it, breathes it. She built 16 pounds of muscle in 12 years, right? So that's like a pound, a little over a pound a year of muscle. I want you to pause and think about that. And this is where we think like I should be further along. Like I said, my physique should look better than this. And what's really happening here is we're rooting this in shame and comparison. And we're taking away everything that we have worked towards because that is something like if I go back and pause, if I pause in this moment and I look back to an old version of Sierra, like down the road, I mean, man, even a year ago, I I've actually had to do this recently because I have personally been struggling with my body image a little bit. And I real that's hence why this training came about. Um, but I realized I was comparing myself to other bikini competitors, and I was starting to make myself feel not worthy or good enough in like that is a root. I call it saboteur in my life. Um, the I'm not good enough button. When it is pushed, it it's usually a different thought, but it always stems back to that. I know I've shared that before, but like that is, I don't think that's ever going to go away. It's something I continuously work on. And I think the more I level up, the more I continuously have to work in that too. But it is rooted in shame and in comparison. And it starts to dismiss your progress in real time and really appreciating everything that you've built. Because a lot of times it's like we're just always living in the future and like I should be here, I should be here. When it's like, but I'm here. But I'm literally right here where my feet are standing here. And I want to be in this body and appreciate it for everything it does. And anytime I find myself in comparison, anytime I see myself shaming my body or looking down on it, it's like, whoa, what is going on? Right? That's a time to get curious. And that's what I had to do recently. It was like, whoa, whoa, where's this coming from? What is going on? And I think the big thing too is a lot of times people have this unrealistic time frame. They're like, I have this picture in mind of how I want to look, and I want that in a year or 2 years. And the reality is, it may take longer than we want. It is. And that's not a bad thing. But what we can replace those like shoulds for is like replace should with like, I value. I want. Because when I can look at another bikini competitor and I'm like, and this is, I know I keep bringing up bikini competitions. It's not about that. Um, but I'm using myself just as an example. So I value the work that they have put in, and I want to be a person who works hard and puts in the work and puts in the time. Like I look at Hattie Boydell and I'm like, I got to put in work. Her first show plus 10 years, right? I just had my first show. Plus, let's add 10 more years, right? And we step back and it's like, what is it that I truly, truly value? What is it that I want? And I want that I can work for because we've talked about this too. You create your ceiling. There's this whole skyscraper of potential, and sometimes we're on the first floor just saying, well, this is it. This is good enough. Or this is, I don't think I need to go anymore. This is fine. And it's like, no, let's go. Let's push. Let's go. And at this place, it's like if somebody else had seen you at this place in your life and this stage, what would they notice or admire about you, right? Um, because what I like us to do is shift this to something where it's like your identity, who you are, how you show up, how you bring yourself, plus your actions. is gonna eventually equal the outcome. And but I will say that we all know this as the more you are becoming and you're stepping into these newer leveled up versions of yourself, it's greater than the outcome because that identity continues to carry you on to the next goal, the next part of your journey, the next, we keep pushing that goalpost, right? We keep building. And that is the real power. And so should keeps us stuck in a state of like judgment, right? I should. I'm judging myself. I'm comparing, I'm expecting, I'm not even like appreciating where I've come from and where I've been, but reframing it with all these like these little pieces can start to move us in that direction of growth and knowing I'm going to have to give my body the space and time it needs to improve because there's not this like, ah, you reached this point, half a pound of muscle. Again, if there was, I'd sign up. Um, but we want that, right? And I think that's the beauty. Is like amazing. You have these big goals, you have these things in this area you want to push, then let's do it. But we got to show up and we got to do the work. Period. Right? There's no way around it. And we all know that because that being here, we know that. We know that already. So, mirror. This is a big thing, right? A lot of times, you'll look in the mirror and you'll be like, I don't like what I see. And a lot of times it can feel like what we see in the mirror doesn't even match your reality. And you would be right. Science actually shows us that people who struggle with like body image, even like more extreme body dysmorphia, your brain literally will misjudge your shape and size. So it will literally like distort how you see yourself. And that's not like a confidence thing, right? That's not like your body hasn't improved and you've made all of this progress, like real. It's that we have to retrain your brain because, and something I wish people had told me earlier, right? If like you had ever looked in the mirror and been like, this isn't what I thought I looked like. I've been there. And then you see a photo later and you're like, huh, I don't really look that bad. I actually look really good. Like, I like this picture. We've been there. Yeah. Yeah. That's your brain playing tricks on you. And that's also a good sign. Not a good sign. Let's take out good. That is a sign that we are in a space where we're struggling a little bit with our body and our body image. And it's not crazy. It can make us feel crazy, but it's that our brain is wired to think a certain way about your body. And like I said, go back to the questions. This one, 5 slides ago. This one, go back and really think about that because most likely something like this. And it may not be this, but this might be getting pulled in. But what I want you to think about is that's what we're going to work on. So something you can do, right? Because I want actionable things we can do that we can move this forward. How you talk to yourself matters. It's known, you know this. How you speak out loud, how you talk to yourself in your head absolutely matters, right? Because if you are in a place where you're like, oh, I look bleh. Well, guess what? Your body hears that, it feels that energy, and it will reciprocate that. And, there's that place where a lot of us want to just jump, and I've chatted about this in old trainings, but it doesn't stop. We want to just be in a place where like I love my body. Outside, like yes of how it looks, but outside of how it looks, I love it unconditionally, without condition, right? And that actually starts with neutrality versus straight up positivity. And we sometimes try to go super positive. I love this body. And your brain's like, no, you don't. Like, here is all of the evidence that we have stored up that you don't believe that. Ready? Go. We have to come and build that bridge. We have to start saying, um, what I like to do is take out all the negative words. So, for example, like I hate my stomach, right? Or I hate my bat wings. I hate my thighs. I don't like. Mm. And then usually it's our more struggly areas that we tend to pick apart the most because they are that for a reason. Your genetics tends to pull where we pull fat from. We have no control where the body pulls it. But what I like to do is take out the hate. I, instead of hate, I have a stomach, right? Your brain can't fight that. Try, try it in your brain right now. I hate my, switch it, flip it. I have a blank for the longest time, and not probably in the past couple years. I would say 5 years ago, Sierra, I would be like, I hate my legs. I hate my legs. I was called thunder thighs more times than you could probably ever imagine, and not like in a cool way. Now I'd be like, thank you so much. You called me thunder thighs. Ah, but like, I'd be like, I hate my legs. And what I did was I started with I have legs because guess what? Sure do. I can't fight that. It's not negative. It's not positive. It's just real. It's factual. It can't be debated. Guess what? That really hit for my brain and body. And I love my legs now. I've always loved leg day. And the reason I love leg day so much is because it taught me to really see the power my legs gave me. And the more you can, because usually what we do is we stand in the mirror and we're like, I don't like you, and I don't like you, and I don't like you, right? I don't like you. Um, but if we can start shifting that time in the mirror to even a neutral place or even a shift of like, um, a neutral thought, but also could be something um like something about you as a person, your identity, like things that you just absolutely adore about yourself. Looking in the mirror becomes a different experience, not this place where you nitpick, but a place where you uplift. And so, stand in front of the mirror, make eye contact with yourself, and say that neutral or truth that comes out, right? Do it. And, it's going to feel weird the first couple times you do it, but the more you do it, the more you're going to be like, yeah, like I have these legs, and I would say, like, I have legs. Um, I love, I like to appreciate what they do. So, like, it was like they can let me dance with my boys. I mean, my husband and I, that's how we met, was two-stepping. I love to dance. Like, they move me around, they carry me, they push me through hard leg days. Like, my legs are golden. Like, do I want to improve them? Hell yeah. But they still are serving me with so much purpose right now. And they are so powerful, even when I'm trying to grow them bigger and better and stronger. So that is something I would right now take a minute, pause this, jot that down. Jot down the thought that's like your thought that's sticking with you right now. And, sometimes with women, it's like their loose skin. Sometimes with women, it's like I said, belly, arms, legs. Those tend to be the areas. Um, so write it down and write the neutral thought. And you can even like slap some sticky notes up on your mirror and read them. Like have them or put it in your notes section of your phone so you don't have to think about it. Now, another way that we can start kind of shifting our lens a little bit is when we're looking at our body, right? A lot of times we're like, how do I look? How do I look? How do I look? Which is fine, right? I have no problem. I like to look good. You like to look good. Let's go. I like it. But I think something that can be just as powerful is asking yourself, like, how do I feel in my body? Because when we're focused on how we're feeling in our body, it brings a lot about who we are, how we're showing up, the energy we're bringing, the actions we're doing. And it also reminds me of like, I can find other pieces outside of how it looks because this is my body and this is the one body I get for the rest of my life. The one brain, the one all of it. This is it. And when we can check in with like, how do I feel in my body? I feel strong. I feel powerful. Like if you would have asked me yesterday, ooh, I was on top of the world. I had the best leg day ever. I was like, I feel like $1,000,000. I was like, I can lift anything, but I felt strong. I felt so feminine. I was like, my legs are just these beasts, and I was here for it. But noticing that can actually shift the lens and how you're looking at yourself because it's not just about how you look, it's also tied in how you feel. And feel also aligns with like the values we have with ourselves. And I'll talk more about that later. Um, I know we've talked about this before too, but like tracking those non-physical wins, the logging your performance, um, looking at your energy, your consistency, your wins, because yes, the scale, yes, the weight, yes, those are good indicators and they help us read data. They're all data points. They're not who we are, right? Even on stage, right? I do not, in my bikini, I do not have a name tag that says, "Hi, I'm Sierra. I weigh pounds." Nobody cares. The judges literally don't care how much you weigh, right? It's going for a look and a feeling and a vibe. Like even posing, they want to see your personality. At least my federation, not all federations. But that I love, right? Because it is about a feeling, feeling my body, feeling myself in those moments, not just being like, here's my look. Um, because you know what? Yes, we're here to build and shape and physique shape our bodies. Absolutely. But it's not the only thing because we all know what it's felt like to be sick and you're like, this, no, I hate it. I hate it. And anytime I'm sick, I'm like, I just want to feel like a normal person. And we're so grateful in that moment. And I think those are those things that we just remember, like how much our body is doing for us on the daily. I have a saying, it's not in here, but I have an amazing body that does amazing things for me on the daily. And that I use all the time. I've used it for years and it has served me well and will continue to because it is something that I have found that continues to raise true because when I stop and think about the amazing things my body does, like I said, pushing heavy weights, like silly things, like my little cells in my body right now are trying to repair and recover my muscles. Like my cells are trying to like grow. My heart is pumping without me thinking. Like my lungs are expanding. I'm breathing. I'm moving. I'm not having to like orchestrate. Like my body is just doing the work. How cool is that? Like, I don't, my blood just it's going through me. My food, it's digesting for me. I don't have, how cool. Like, your body's so freaking cool. Like, you're sick, cool. It's taking care of you. Amazing, right? Like, really amazing when you step back and think about how amazing our bodies really are. Like, I think they're so cool. I'm nerdy though. So- But sometimes just taking a little pause at the end of the day, like, if you're going to pray at the end of the day or you just unwind at the end of the day, what did my body allow me to do today that I was proud of? What did my body allow me to do that I was proud of? Like, man, I got to hug my kids today, like, and just hold them close, or I went for this beautiful walk and like it was just so nice to go move my body and feel the air hit my face and like feel my like legs burning as I was walking up that hill. Like how beautiful, right? And what am I grateful for in my body today? It can be how it looks, but I like to remind it like I said, I have these beautiful, like amazing legs that do amazing things for me. Like they let me dance with my boys. I mean, my arms let me hug. Like my stomach, yes, I have loose skin from carrying babies, and I love that I was able to carry those babies. And it's just a reminder of like, man, our bodies are so cool as women that we're able to have babies and our bodies change. And here we are, shaping them and doing all the things anyway. Freaking cool. So, what this does is it starts to just build that sense of like respect and trust with your body, which, when we're talking about kind of like, I wouldn't necessarily say healing, but like having a peaceful sense of body image self, because I think there's always going to be times where your body image is going to ebb and flow because it's a feeling. Remember our urges training where we talked about how feelings are like clouds and they eventually pass? There's probably days where you're like, I love my body and I feel amazing. And then there's another, I feel. It's a feeling. It's not a reality. It's a feeling. And so having a peaceful body image can be when we're in our feels, how we can navigate and manage it just better and better and better. Now, I also think there's a piece of identity, and I talked about this earlier, where it's like, who am I when I'm just not obsessing about how I look all the time? Because your identity is 100% bigger than your waistline or this number on the scale or this look. And I love to think about what I want to be and who I want to grow into. And a lot of that is like leadership, resilience, creativity, kindness. I want to empower people. Like I want to be a powerhouse and I want to empower people to also be powerhouses. And I used to think for like my body, if I wasn't lean, if it wasn't perfect, then like who was I? But that's not really an identity. That's like a cage. It's a prison. It's keeping you in this box, that ceiling, like a little box. And the funny part is the more we're focused on like obsessed, and I'm not saying like I'm being intentional and purposeful with my nutrition and my fitness, and we're pushing the goalpost and we're pushing to that next level. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like picking yourself apart because what do I value beyond the mirror, right? What kind of woman do I want to be remembered as, right? Who is that woman? Because I bet you, and I think you know this, that next level version woman is also the woman who's going to have the actions, self-discipline, the trust, the radical accountability, the honesty, the self-confidence to keep moving you there, right? And that comes from what you do, your actions, your habits, your lifestyle, all of it. And that's where fitness and nutrition plays a role, right? But it's like if I obsess, isn't my obsession taking away from what I could be pouring into other people? And I don't mean like, hey, we can be super passionate about this and want to go, because yes, yes. But is it to the point where now I'm spending so much time and energy in front of the mirror picking myself apart? Or now anytime I see my progress, it's not good enough. Or I should be off, right? Like we're in this other world and we're not even here. And so the identity, right? We want our body to be like ours and feel like ours, not feel like an enemy, but it is a vessel that can live throughout time, out in real time, and with our values in real time. And I think that's the powerful piece. So I wanted to state this. I think you probably already know because I've said it like 3 times now. But the people you look up to, the people you might see on social media, the people you might be reading education from, the people you might be learning from, coaches, athletes, trainers, they struggle. I think every single person has moments where they struggle in their body because, like I said, it's a feeling. It's going to come and it's going to go. I've struggled. Um, I don't think I will ever not struggle. I think there will always be moments. And I also know like right now I'm in perimenopause and that it's not that my body is like doing anything crazy change wise, like shape, but I would say my hormones have been up and down. So when I'm up and down, how I think, when I'm in a low moment, I don't trust myself, is what I try to remind myself. It's like, hey, you're not thinking like Sierra normally would. This is Patricia talking now. This isn't you. And we can't trust what we're thinking and saying right now because we're not in our normal space. Like you're feeling low. You don't feel good. Of course, that's when we're gonna, usually when we feel good, we're like, yeah, feeling myself, loving it, right? But it's usually those moments where we're feeling more low that we tend to start the attack. So just be mindful of those times in your life. And it's not this perfection. It's like growth and progress is beautiful, but peace with you and where you are and knowing I can continue to change and build and grow upon this, but taking a moment to just stop and appreciate this body for what you have. Like, even if you need to right now, be like, yeah, I need to write this down. I need to like pause and write down like why I appreciate my body for what it is. Um, Now, a couple other journal prompts to think about. What thoughts come up the most often when I look in the mirror, and what's the story that I'm telling myself? Um, I would dig into that for sure. And then where did this belief first start? Um, I put in parentheses, it might not be like an I good enough button, but I've worked with enough women to know that I think this is all one of our big saboteurs is I'm not good enough. I think that's not everybody's, but I think a lot of if I had to pick like your seed that like all the other random thoughts that you think are random, it comes back to this one. I'm not good enough. So where did that belief start that you weren't good enough or your body wasn't good enough? Like I said at the very beginning, we've gotten those messages throughout our lives in time, which is so sad. Now, some other things we may want to do that will help you. Um, Social media audit. If you're following somebody, or maybe you're following them and you like them, but you notice every single time you're watching them, you're comparing yourself to them, right? It might be something where are they inspiring you to grow or are they taking pieces away of you? Are you feeling smaller? Are you feeling less powerful? Are you feeling not good enough? Shameful, right? The I should. Oh, well, they've been doing this journey as long as I have. I should be as far as long as them, right? If you're finding people online that like don't resonate, and if I'm one of those people, just unfollow me. And I will not take it personally because you know what? You need to have your environment matters. And if the people in your environment are triggering you and causing something, I would get curious on it. And it doesn't mean we have to unfollow them for forever, but maybe it's like right now isn't the best time to follow them. Maybe they served you at one point in your journey and they no longer serve you now. That's okay. We can outgrow people. There's nothing wrong with that. So if you're noticing that, do a social media audit. Like even like once a month, it could be yearly, but just take a look at the people you're watching and following. Is this somebody that has my values that I look up to, that inspires me, that I want to aspire to? Or is it somebody that makes me not feel good about myself? Or and I'm not saying somebody that challenges you is a bad thing either. I'm just saying, is it something that is serving you or is it pulling you back? Watch that. And if not, unfollow. Click that button. You can always refollow them in the future. Your own transformation photos. I know I hear this all the time. How many women are like, I hate them. So it's like, are they becoming an obsession of picking yourself apart? Or are they truly fueling you, your progress, your body, like you getting a chance to see your wins, right? Because that's what they're there for. And I am so mad because I remember when I first started my journey, I actually did take before and after pictures, and I don't have them. And I'm sad because I couldn't stand looking at them. And I never want a woman to do that because, man, how cool would it have been to have those initial photos, I would have loved to see how, I mean, I can obviously still see all the changes I've made to my body. I mean, even in the past year has been crazy and I've been busting it and working it. Um, but it can definitely be something that we can use as this obsessive tool to beat ourselves up versus being able to see the wins. And anytime, if you're feeling like, man, I don't see it, ask your coach. We can do a side by side and walk you through where we can see those changes because I've done it many a times. And every time it's like, oh, wow, yeah, I didn't see that. I just felt like I was exactly the same. Because, right, we see ourselves in the mirror every day. It's like we don't change, but we are. Um, the scale. Is it becoming, is it a tool? Is it data, which it should be? Or is it becoming tied to like how you value and see your self-worth? Because again, a number, we make the numbers mean things. You decide what that number means because for one person, that number would be like, oh, that would be amazing to be there. And for another person, that'd be like, oh my gosh, like I'd love to see that number. But we make those numbers mean things like no, that number means nothing. It literally is just a number. We define the meaning. So it can be redefining that scale as a data point and a tool. And also is a data point in time, right? Social media, like I said earlier, you don't see the whole truth. You're seeing the pieces that person wants you to see. And they're most times you don't see all the negative. And if you do see the negative, they're usually going to tell you like how they won or triumphed through that. Um, and sometimes you do see the vulnerability and the real, which I love, but you really don't know exactly what's happening in somebody's world. Like at any time, you could be like, man, they crush it. They're always on, like da da da. And you don't know what is going on in their life or the back end at all. We just assume. So keep pausing and thinking, like, would I speak to someone? I love the way I'm speaking to myself in these moments. Am I serving myself? And if any of these things are triggering you, talk to your coach 100% because either they can come up with a new plan, new strategy, or there can be a beautiful reframe of looking at these things differently. And sometimes it's just a beautiful conversation. Now, some tools. We kind of talked about this earlier, but I'm putting it again, but like that neutral thought, right? Or thought swap. So like instead of like I hate my legs coming up, write it down, cross it out, and rewrite that neutral thought like I hate my legs or my thighs are disgusting. That was another one of mine. It was golden. That like these legs are powerful. These legs lifted X amount of weight today in leg day. These legs carried me through my day. Let's go. Um, that can be so powerful. Writing it down can be really powerful. I start my day with a lot of gratitude. Um, and that is something that like I usually do write something that I'm like grateful, not how my body looks, but something it does for me. Um, a couple other things is like identity and like who you are and how you want to show up in the world and reminding yourself like your body gets to be a part of you. It's not who you are. And so like I'm a leader, I'm resilient. I am a mom, I'm hardworking, I am confident. I mean I could come up with a whole bunch here, but I'm not gonna say all of them. But as you do it, sometimes it can be really powerful to remind yourself like who am I? Who am I? And like the power is your character, your identity, and your body gets to just like complement that. Does that make sense? Yes. Um, Visualizing yourself where you are, like if you're feeling a little bit at war with your body, you're feeling not like it just doesn't feel like the body that you're wanting right now. You know, envision that person who, like that future version, that next level version of you. How does she walk, speak? How does she move throughout her day? Practice stepping into her. And, what actions is she doing? Because that might be a piece that, you guys can work on and step into too. And then You are not your body, you're the athlete building it, right? Reframes that we can use. Um, Shift from judgy to like celebrating the process. Like, seriously, my consistency, my effort, my resilience, how I show up, like what I do will yield to the body you want. Um, and I think even when you get to the body you want, you're probably going to keep pushing it, which I love it. But that doesn't mean we don't have the opportunity and we shouldn't take that opportunity to celebrate it in the now and celebrate who you became to get that body because you had to level up in areas of your life to get there. And instead of like, I don't look good enough, right? I am an athlete in pursuit, and every step builds my legacy. Every step. That's literally one I used. I am an athlete in pursuit, and every step builds my legacy. And it's like the only person deciding I'm not good enough is me. So write your wins. Um, Anything, this kind of goes and ties into like the things your body can do, but sometimes it can be a lot easier to be like the wins my body had. Like I know I have a lot of women going through some really tough obstacles right now, and taking this opportunity to be like, you know what? There is so much heaviness and chaos going on, and I'm showing up for me every single day. And yes, my workout felt messy, but I showed up and I was tired, I was exhausted, and I'm at my wit's end, and I'm still here doing the work, pushing hard. That is so beautiful. Find those wins and celebrate them on the daily. Gratitude in general, like writing things that you are grateful for. But if you're walking, even more powerful. Like just instead of listening to headphones or anything, listening to a podcast or music, go on a walk, get away from people, and just name 3 to 5 things that you're just really grateful for. It can be like just anything, but like if you want to pull in your body of like what your body is doing for you in that very moment, right? It just pulls us into the present and it really does build this like, wow, I have this amazing body that does amazing things. Yay. Um, it's real. And then end of the day debrief is like, did I live by my values, right? What do I actually value? And the reason I bring values in is because I think there are times where when we have our values set, then we know how we operate and show up in the world, right? And what we will tolerate and what we're not willing to tolerate. And that's where our values give us like technically boundaries. But what it also does is if we're living by our values, then that will always yield that result of who we are and how we show up. And by default, we will continue to build and shape this body in this pursuit and build it better, stronger, faster. I mean, leaner, more muscular, all of it. And it's like, did I live by my values? Am I in alignment with what I want from my lifestyle, from my life, from my legacy, all of it? Because to me, that matters so, so, so much. Because when when you're not living by your values and you just feel like you're out of alignment and and you're like, something's off, it's because there's a value piece here. Um, so I wanted to tell you and bring in physique shaping because I didn't want us to like leave this out because it's like, okay, I should just love my body for where it is and whatever, right? But it's like your body and physique shaping, right? Respect and um I was gonna say something else, but I lost my words along the way. Sorry. Respect is consistency, but when we're not tearing ourselves down every day, right? Because when you beat yourself up, it's exhausting mentally and physically. Even when you look good and people are like, you look amazing or whatever, but you're like, I could be better. I should be better. Like, you actually are working against yourself. The more, like we said, your body hears you and what you think and say, guess how it shows up? How you think and talk to yourself. It shows up less than you could be. So when you aren't doing that, you can show up way more consistent, way more confident. Your actions are more clear and aligned and ready to go. And respect builds devotion to yourself. And a lot of times we use discipline, but I love the word devotion. Why? Because discipline, I think, comes up harsh. Like you have to be perfect. No, discipline doesn't mean perfect, right? We're human, we're not robots. Um, but devotion is like, I do this for me. My body is not like, I'm not eating like this to punish my body. I'm not working out like this to punish. No, I'm doing this to honor myself and because I'm so devoted and I do care about me and I do want the best for me. Ugh, like how that's respect, right? At the fullest in self-love at the fullest place. And physique shaping is all about that, right? It's an expression of like growth, mastery, and we build these bodies because we know we can and because we have the power to, not because we hate them, but because we're like, I want to grow, I want to get better. And I can also, in the same breath, love my body for where it is right now, because this is the body that's going to get me to that next level, right? We love it, we respect it because it's the one, it is the vessel that's taking us to the next level. Um, you know, your mindset and your training, right? When you're struggling with body image, it also is constantly just pulling in your flaws, right? It's like flaw, 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 flaw. And when you're doing that, you're again using so much mental space, emotional space, and that is exhausting. I've been there in the beat up sessions and the self-loathing where it's like it consumed my entire day. And it wasn't the wins. And even when I was struggling with my body image, like recently, I noticed that was a big piece. It was like just this like constant Patricia being like, hey, hey. And it was exhausting. Like, it was exhausting. And when we do that, though, when we can free ourselves from focusing on that, we can really focus on our training, our like intensity. We can lift better, we can recover better, we can push better. Think your endurance, your technique mastery is better, your performance in technique is better, your PRing, your energy levels are off the charts, speed is up. Like, that's what we want, right? It's like that is also going to be that if we put our time and energy into that, that's going to yield a physique that we just continue to build and grow on, which is beautiful. And it's like I'm sculpting my body by what it can do, right? Like it's like it can lift this heavy weight and it can be a powerhouse. Like I love that. I love one of the best feelings is being strong in the gym. I'm not gonna lie. Um, your identity, right? If your only identity is like, I'm the woman who needs to get leaner, you're going to burn out. You are going to eventually find something that you're like, this isn't it. We don't want that. Anchor to your values plus your performance, you'll stay in the game forever. Like, who is the woman I am creating? What do I value? Because, like, I value feeling good. Well, that's why my nutrition is the way it is and the habits I have, because my values align with that. Um, and aesthetics gets to be the byproduct. Yay. um, Aesthetics isn't the driver of the change, it's the result, right? And, we build our body because we love it. And just like an artist, right, like refines their canvas, they're painting and they keep adding and building upon this picture they're painting. You refine your physique, right? Your physique, your worth isn't the canvas. Your worth is the artist, right? And you can build upon it and like build and make it a little bit like refine and tweak and do this to make it better and better. Um, so to me, it's like physique shaping gives us this beautiful outlet where we do feel powerful. We do get to shape our bodies. We do have these values as like a women here at Queens of Iron that we are people who respect ourselves, who push hard, who, we like to feel good. We love to have our energy feel amazing. Like our strength in the gym is powerful. Like that's who we are. And it builds confidence and self-love and freedom and all these things. And so when you do that, you don't just build a better body, you just have this better life. And I think that's what we all want, right? It's like, I don't want fitness and nutrition to take over everything, and that's my life. It's like it gets to be this beautiful part of it. And it also gets to be the piece where it's like, physique shaping really allows me to see the power with my body too, and all of it, all that it does, right? So I wanted to bring that in because I know this training can almost be like that physique shaping piece. And I'm like, why? What are we doing? But it plays in so beautifully. Um, Especially with like respect and self-love and values, like so beautifully. Anyway, so for the record, your aesthetics will plateau at some point. Like there's going to be moments that it feels like nothing's happening. Like it's 1 pound a year of muscle. Um, so I don't mean that as like, oh, that's awful. That's going to take me forever, right? It's just more of like, okay, wow, I'm going to have to be in the game and realize there's going to be moments where like the scale might stall. The progress might feel like it's stalling. It can feel like nothing's happening. And this is where a lot of women start doubting themselves. They want to quit. They're like, why bother? Like this, nothing's changing. But the reality is like, okay, well, we know we're not going to stop, number one. But if we did stop that, then we're just proving ourselves right, right? That's where like self-sabotage can step in. Our actions just start to prove what we already think. And it's like, this isn't true that I'm not making progress. It's just reminding yourself that, like, anchoring in your identity, in your performance, in your habits, your PRs, your energy, your confidence, all those things are really important. And when things feel like they stall, it doesn't mean we're not growing. It's a feeling. It will come and it will go. But progress will always compound. It's not conditional. So we have to build that confidence and know that, like, there are going to be hard times in our journey. And there might be times where, you know, like a woman like Hattie, she went into very strategic surpluses, right? She went into build modes and she went to that next level that sometimes women are like, I don't want to go into a surplus. And you never have to, never. Um, because we just have to remind ourselves like we are going to be doing this our whole lives. And, our body's going to go through lots of changes. Like we've had thousand, probably even you have had multiple physiques in your life. And that is just our powerhouse of knowing, hey, there's more to come. And there's another physique that, like, an even better, stronger, faster, leaner physique, but that's not who I am and that's not how I define myself. It just gets to complement me. And I work this hard because I value it, right? I value the feelings I get and I value how I show up in the world because it's really about who you're becoming: strong, resilient, consistent, confident, devoted, powerful. And that's what lasts, right? Because when you are that person, like I said earlier, that's the person, those habits, that identity takes you to the next level. Like without that, you're stuck. And that's where we know we're going to continue to build on our physique too. So, a couple little last minute things, right? This is where you can like grab a notebook, journal it out, but do a values check in. Check in with yourself. Like, what do I value? Write them down. What are like 3 qualities you admire about yourself or you want to develop? Like, you're like, hey, I love this and I want to continue to work on this. It can be whatever floats your boat. There's no right or wrong here. Um, and then 3 ways you're progressing, even if it feels like things are stalling, right? Um, if the scale's not changing photos, it's like, where am I seeing progress? Because we know there's always progress to be found. The wins are everywhere. We just have to look for them. And a lot of times we're looking at all the flaws, right? We're stuck in that lane. But if we can keep moving and looking for all the wins, our brain will continue to find those too. So write those down. Those are powerful. And those sometimes are the biggest things, especially when you're feeling like things are stalling out. And then you can make this like an anchor identity statement where like I am a woman who does blank, blank, and blank. And like my examples, like I'm a woman who leads with resilience, trains with strength, fuels with respect. Um, because it reminds me of like those are my values, right? That's who I am, and that's how I show up on the daily. And even saying that, it's like, yeah, like I embody that in all that I do, not just fitness and nutrition, not just how my body looks, but in everything. And that can be such a powerhouse when the body struggles are real, because, like I said, they're gonna come and go. Um, but you and your identity and how you show up in all of this is really powerful. So definitely take a minute to do some journaling. Um, if you're having a bad body image day, remind yourself that like this too shall pass. And if you are in your feels or having a bad day, and you start digging into your body, I would get curious about that because, as humans, we're human, we have feelings. And I know as someone who also pours a lot and works really hard and trains really hard in the gym, that like we want the best and like we're not settling for mediocre. And I think that's also what makes us a powerhouse is like, some of this like body image is also because we care so incredibly much. And that's not a bad thing. It's just not letting it take over, where it starts seeping into who we are, our actions, and it starts maybe pushing us away or not showing up in our best light. So hopefully this was helpful. And like I said, the next one is going to be all about worthiness. Of course, if you have something you want, please feel free to either message me personally or drop it below. I'm so always open to different ideas. Um, just so we can like serve you best. So thanks, ladies, and I hope you have such a beautiful day.